Disorderly Blondes Autism Podcast. This is Brenda.
And this is Christy.
Christy, we're going to have to go back to school.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Do you know that today we have another doctor in the house?
¿Cómo que doctor? You're sick?
I'm not sick. No, we have Dr. Jennie Troccio as our special guest today.
Ooh, duh, I knew that. No, I think my school days are over. Or are they?
Dr. Jennie's an autism educator, DIR, Floortime provider, and a consultant. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
No checkups, no fingerprints.
None of that.
Okay.
I will not be looking at moles. None of it.
It's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Originally from Maryland, Jennie allowed our sunny skies and pina coladas to bring her down south.
Oh, and also the University of Miami, but we don't have to talk about that, do we?
No.
Given she's entered enemy territory.
Oh, I didn't
Super
realize.
FIU Golden Panthers over here. Just saying.
Should we recap the last football meetup they had? I'm just saying.
I don't think we should. I
Go
don't think we should.
Panthers! Woo!
Well, irregardless, Dr. Jennie.
Irregardless is not a word.
Irregardless is not a word.
Regardlessly.
Irregardlessly, perfect. Irregardlessly, Jennie completed her bachelor's degree in special education and I didn't read that part very carefully. And creative
I was
writing.
waiting for your comment on that.
Oh my gosh, suddenly I'm feeling a little, nervous. And a master's in ESC and reading the focus on ESOL while teaching special ed in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Woohoo, been there. Welcome.
That's it? What a slider.
I know, get off the couch.
Whatever, man.
Well, we're dying to find out what led you to special education.
Ah,
Because we already know we can't do it. We can't do what you do. We're special. Yeah.
You guys do it every night. I mean,
Yes.
it's you guys do it flawlessly. So what brought me into special education, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, but in high school I teamed up with the Best Buddies program. And I know that there are some connections that you guys have with them as well. They're amazing. And my best buddy, Kate, we met, we connected, and we have been having weekly either phone dates or in-person dates ever since.
No way.
I swear.
Wait, I saw the picture because I paid attention on Instagram.
I knew
She
that.
posted, right?
Yeah. And she just, like, knowing her sort of changed everything I thought I knew about individuals with disabilities, because everyone kept saying you can only do X amount or you won't be able to do X, Y, Z. And then just the more I hung out with her, I realized, but wait, she just did that thing that everyone said that she'd never do. And that sort of really drove me to think special education's amazing. We just get to break down barriers left and right, and who doesn't want to be part of that, you know? So then I started teaching special ed in Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
Where?
A school called Kinston Park Elementary.
Okay.
It's in the Little Havana area.
Hey.
And it was lovely. And that's really where I got hooked into autism. So I was teaching in a resource room and inclusion classes, and I had kids of all sorts of different abilities, strengths, challenges, and it was the kids with autism where all of a sudden I thought, whoa, what is this?
Hey, we thought the same thing. We still think
We're
that.
still thinking the same thing. What is this? Every day we're like, what? What happened? What just happened?
Well, at the time, it wasn't really in the school textbooks. So, there was like a sentence, maybe a paragraph, but, you didn't know that much about it. But I was fascinated by the kids. So I had one student, and for most educators, there's like one student that brings you really into the field. And we were in the middle of a lesson, a math lesson, a pretty boring one.
As opposed to all the other exciting ones.
Right. I like to think that they've gotten a little bit better, at least over the years.
I don't know.
But all of a sudden, he starts jumping up and down and flapping, and he says, Channel 10, Channel 10. And I thought, what are you talking about? Sit down. It was first-year teachers. And a few minutes after that, I heard a helicopter go by. And a few minutes after that, I looked out the window, and it was a Channel 10 helicopter. And I thought, nuh-uh. And a few minutes after that, he starts jumping up and down again, flapping, Channel 7, Channel 7. And I thought,
Oh my
no.
gosh.
Rick Sanchez.
Alert! Exactly.
Sorry.
Well, there was an incident in the area, so there was a bunch of news helicopters.
No.
I know, right? But so this child could not only hear a helicopter helicopter before I could, but he could differentiate them by, I don't know, the sound of the engine or the propellers. I have no idea.
That's crazy. I've never heard anything like that. That's so cool.
Amazing. And that's really, I thought, I gotta find out more about this. So, I went into Barnes and Nobles and got all of the books on autism, which was like 3 at the
I was
time.
gonna say, there's so many. They were so amazing. We own them all.
Right? Exactly. As one came out, I would buy it, and I just sort of was fascinated by it. And then I found a doctoral program at Barry University that had a focus in autism. I was like, oh man, this is perfect. So I just wanted every piece of information I could. I fell in love with it because it's such a fun sort of challenge. But the kids are so smart. There's so much intelligence in there. It's just about how can we figure out how to get it out, but it's there. And that to me was just amazing.
So going back, you said in high school you met your friend and she's the one who changed everything about you. When it comes to that, it's not about you.
Yes.
So then immediately after graduation, did you stay with the public school system, or for how long were you with them before your next move?
So I was with the public school system for 3 years.
Okay.
And then I met these amazing parents, and they pretty much said, we want to start a school. And I said, well, I would love to start a school because there are so many great things happening in the public schools, but there's so much more that can and should be done. And I would love to see how we could do that. And they said, well, so we use this approach called DIR Floortime. Are you familiar with it? And I said, no, but I can't do anything if I don't believe in it. So how can we find out about it? And they sent me to a conference in Washington, D.C., and my mind was just blown. I thought, well, this is the way it should be done. So I was hooked in from that moment on, and we teamed up and we started a school in 2008.
So this dream eventually became Casablanca Academy.
It did.
And do you know that I toured the school with Dylan?
No!
And yes, I desperately needed to pull him out of public school, and we toured it in like 2008 or 9.
Wow, so in the very beginnings, and we just had a couple kids there.
Yeah, and all I remember is the one main room, and all the kids were kind of trickling in for morning circle, and there was a little red-headed boy.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's all I remember.
Oh, yes.
Because he was so cute. I was like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. And I remember someone, I don't think it was you, because I'm really good at faces, even though it was like 10 years ago.
I was a little bit smaller then, so
Weren't we all? Weren't we all? But I do remember someone saying, and I remember at first I was like, well, what do you mean it's 8:30 and whatever time it was? And I was like, it says here on the schedule that at 8:30 they do circle time. And someone was like, no, it's just, we kind of go with the flow. And I was like, oh, me and like, now I look back and I'm like, of course, Brian, like really? But back then I didn't know. Not that I know much more now. So.
Understandable. Yeah, we were very flexible with the schedule. So we had set times designated for everything, but at the same time, if we needed to be 5 minutes late or early, we would just do it. And that was sort of the benefit of being in a smaller school, whereas in the public school, we could be mid-page and a bell would go off and shut your books and run away. And it's like, wait.
And I actually told Larry, I said, I don't know if he should go here. Now thinking back, maybe we should have considered it more. But I said, because, he was 5 or 6 or 7. He was like so young, and we knew so little. And I said, because it feels like all he's going to do is play all day.
Oh, imagine that.
Ironically. I don't understand. I mean, I said to him, he'll love it, but he's just going to be playing. He's not going to learn anything.
Yeah.
Wow, Bran.
And tell us more about being there from the beginning. I mean, that had to be overwhelming and exciting.
Yes, all of the above. All of the above. And through public school, I sort of kept racking up all these ideas and things that I really wanted to do with the kids, but I wasn't allowed to for whatever reason. It wasn't the page I was supposed to be on or whatever it was. And I got to do it all there, And we were talking about themes earlier. Obviously, we have this awesome holiday theme going on. But, when it comes to themes, that's how you can make fun things so meaningful. So like for Halloween, we would get the pumpkins, we would roll them, we would weigh them, we would estimate that, which one's the heaviest, which one will roll the fastest.
Hands-on approach.
Hands-on approach, exactly. And when it's fun, then the kids are engaged in it. So we don't have to spend all of our time redirecting, come here, be here, stay here, don't go there.
Grab this worksheet.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So we had a lot of fun just sort of exploring and how can we do things in a way that will get all the kids wanting to be here. And so it was really fun. It was really fun.
Jennie, you then graduated with a PhD from Barry University, where your research included a collaboration with Dr. Rick Solomon the medical director of the Play Project. Is it P-L-A-Y or is it? Or is it? I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. And that was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Sounds really cold there. No, thank you. Please elaborate on that in spite of me and tell us about the Play Project.
Sure. So the Play Project it's an awesome approach started by Dr. Rick Solomon, and what he
Sorry, podcasters, I'm doing something funny for YouTube. You see the sign?
Oh, yeah, she's pointing to the play.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, there's a sign.
She's
I
really
was like,
weird.
the pencil's levitating. I don't know what's happening.
Okay, there's a sign that says play right above her head. Sorry, I was just
Very
pointing
cute.
it out.
Okay.
There it is.
Continue in spite of us.
You already told me that. I should have known that. Oh, I love it. So the Play Project is based on the same theoretical pieces of DIR Floortime, but it really says that, you know what, to have anything work, parents need to be a big part of it. So basically the approach is you work with parents and teach them the skills needed to work with their kids. And one of the sort of kickers of the approach is that the parents who sign on to do it have to agree to 2 hours a day of interacting with their kids. And for a lot of parents, that is a immediate...
Consecutive?
No.
Oh.
Well, so that's the thing. Well,
You're already giving yourself away, Brad.
no, but it's so true, because if you hear...
I'm like, that's what it sounded like. Wait, but...
Like, no.
I have to check my Instagram. What?
Well, and so that's the thing, is when you hear 2 hours, it's like, heck no. Who
Right.
has time for this?
Right.
But when
Children and
children, good point. But when you break it up into little
Right.
bite-sized pieces, then it's manageable. So, 15 minutes when we wake up, and 15 minutes at the breakfast table, and 15 minutes on our way to school, or 15 minutes whenever. I mean, we can all sort of squeeze that in.
Yes.
And the thought is that when the families are getting, so it would just be once a month for about 3 hours, that a professional's with the family. And then the parents take it over from then. So it's a way to give intensive intervention to the kids without the cost of, 40 hours a week of having a professional in there. So the parents are able to then do that. And all of the sessions are videotaped, they're fully recorded, and you get these updates on what's happening with the child and the best new strategies to try, new techniques, based on how the child's progressed. So it's a really fun approach that brings everyone together in a way that's not super costly and super.
Does she know us?
I don't think she knows the super.
That's our
But I've
favorite
been
word.
watching. I missed this. Okay.
Do we have to give it a history of super?
Super.
It's super.
It's super. We just say super a lot.
I love it.
It's like a thing. Oh, it's should we go back there to the?
We could go there.
We could go there. These girls need to love us. The Shit Miami Girls Say video. No,
Look at her face. Poor Dr. Jenny. She's gonna leave soon.
She's probably gonna leave.
I am not leaving. I'm loving this. I'm
And
fascinated.
so it's basically just like a spoof on Shit Miami Girls Say, like irregardless, and super. It's super funny,
And I'm just gonna fight you.
And I'm just gonna verify you. And there's all these little funny sayings that we love that video so much, and we naturally use a lot of that stuff already. So then it just happened naturally, organically, when we started recording, that we caught ourselves saying a lot of these things, and now we just play it up for fun.
Well, now I need to watch this.
Yes, and there's a part 2, and there's an Abuelos one, right?
Yes, but my favorite is still the original.
Oh, yes.
And I actually like part 2 better than part 1, but you have to watch them both. And
Yes,
I'll send
you
you the
do.
link.
I thank you.
She's like, I can hardly
And
not
you
wait.
will,
No, seriously.
Listen, she worked in Little Havana, so she
Oh,
gets
she'll get it.
She'll get
Mhm.
it.
Yes.
So yes, you went there. You said super. So sorry.
I
I even
love it.
forgot what she was saying super about.
No, I'm gonna stop because I have no idea where we are.
Okay, yeah, go back and listen to before this. Make us enough.
And before
I'm
we
crying.
can, now, just not to diss the person who wrote the script, but I don't know much about Floortime. And I don't know if she,
asked if she could talk about a sample session.
yes. I just know that when JR was little, it was so overwhelming. And even when you say the 15-minute chunks,
Mhm.
I have teenagers, and 15 minutes?
You gotta record that.
No, I can't?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're saying good stuff.
All right, 15 minutes is
I like the.
Mhm.
right?
Exactly.
That
Now you're gonna
sounds
go back and say
substantial.
You see.
Oh, I should never open my mouth.
You See?
So now, is that
I'm
what we're
the
saying
mean
now? We're
producer.
going back to the 15 minutes? Should we listen to what she said last
Yes.
before we started? This is
Or
my
like,
girl say
it was
so.
just too easy because she said it's twice
I
back to
know.
back. What I
Okay.
just do.
Oh boy, here we go.
Brenda, turn your mic away because I'm like. Sorry, YouTube.
Oh, hello.
I was a little bit smaller than
Oh, that's way. Sorry. My hands are so greasy, sweaty from laughing. Now I'm flat.
Now I'm flat. She's flapping. Let me tell you, I flap when I'm happy. It's one of those things, you know, how you just sort of
You
give
know,
and take.
I had a teacher say, I had a doctor once. I was just like so like overwhelmed with the stimming and the stimming. He was doing, I forgot what stim of the month was. Like it was so
Stim of
many
the month.
stims. It was just so many different ones, and I was like, stop. And I hated them. And he said, you know when you're on the phone, he says like you're doodling or you're pacing back and forth. Like sometimes you just can't. I mean, who can actually just talk on the phone like this? Like people
I
are
have
always,
to walk.
And he says that's a stem. The difference is if we need it's first of all, it's not a disruptive stem. And second, if we needed to stop that stem, we would be conscious of it and then stop it and do something else, but our kids can't regulate that way. And after he said that, I'm like, I get it better. I understood it.
it's like, heck no. Who has time for this?
Okay.
If I get too loud, should I move this away?
No,
I
you're
tend
good.
to get
You can-
excited.
I think we're actually all evenly loud. This is rare, never happens. It could also be the room. Maybe
We're fine.
maybe it
It's
amplifies
harder
more,
when
because
we
usually-
don't hear you.
Yes.
Strategies to try and techniques based on how the child progressed. So it's a really
So
fun
good.
approach that brings everyone together in a way that's not super
You sound
complete and
fabulous.
Super. I'm in it now. I get it. Thank you for filling me in.
Okay.
I missed this. Okay. We have to get
She's
it.
like, oh, you girls are so good. Okay.
No, you'll see.
Well, just so you guys know, like part of the approach is all about affect and like using your face and body language to convey something. But it's so integrated with me, I can't have a thought without it showing, which is like not
no.
great all the time.
I know.
Okay.
My face is
Tell me how you really feel. I see these.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm assuming I don't have a problem like moving past all this. Like, what? Why is my
I would do that.
Oh, yeah, but I can only do that far. Okay, so I'm past it, right? I'm not recording over anything.
No.
right here.
You're good.
I don't know why I just kind of had a brain fart about that. Okay,
I know.
so do you want?
She's blonde.
Are we gonna talk about the chunks of time, or we don't?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna say like back to the 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
I forgot where we were. What?
Okay, back to the whole 15 minutes of thing. 15
Yes.
minutes, and you said, 15 minutes is manageable. 15
Yes.
minutes. I mean, if you think about it, like sometimes, when my kid was little and was trying to put him to bed, and I was like, just, what is that book? Go the F to sleep. It's been a long ass day. You're super challenging. I'm tired. I'm a new mom. I don't know what's going on. So 15 minutes, that's pretty substantial. And I can see how that would definitely make a difference. 15 minutes of, what am I trying to say? Like just quality, right?
Exactly.
Quality time. So, and now that I have a teenager, if I get 15 seconds, I'm definitely lucky.
Completely understood. Well, and that's part of it is, for a lot of us, at the end of the day, we're exhausted. So then you would try to make the mornings a little bit more interaction heavy.
Okay.
But part of it is it doesn't have to be this structured, I sit here, you sit there. It could be time in the bath. And I think you said it beautifully, it's quality time. It's moments of joy and engagement. And really that is, I think, the most therapeutic tool we all have. And so it's just at least making us aware of the amount of time that we're interacting and playing and doing that sort of stuff instead of just, structured, here's a worksheet, here's a drill,
Right.
touch your nose, touch your head. This is a lot more fluid. So it can be just sort of goofing around, eating lunch, whatever it is, it can be incorporated into the things that you're doing already. So especially, if your son's in high school now, it would be extremely difficult because he's not physically here that much.
Right, that's
so
true.
It wouldn't be as possible. But especially if you have little ones who are home a lot, then it could really be incorporated a lot more easily.
Right. And it's funny how a lot of memories are made in those moments. right? The simplest things. So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
Are you happy now?
I'm always happy.
I'm doing a file save because what I said.
Yay.
You guys are just so fun.
Aww.
You really
We
are.
really like each other that much.
Shut up.
Dr. Jennie, give us an example of a sample session of DIR with the professional. That would be you.
Sure.
Definitely not.
We need to remind her of that, but
Mine would involve wine. Kids don't drink wine. Oh, shoot.
Well, and so DIR, and I guess maybe I should define it. DIR stands for Developmental Individual Differences and Relationship-Based Approach. So it's something that you can really do with anyone, and it's meeting someone where they are developmentally, and then incorporating their individual differences, which are their interests, their passions, their sensory system, their motor system, their language skills. So it's incorporating all of that and then bringing them up using a relationship. So it can be done with anyone at any age. I think that's actually how we all learn best. It's when
This is what we're doing right now. We're doing a
we
sample.
really are.
We
so
are.
Even as you said, drinking wine, I said, well, so, if we were going to, floor time together, maybe a bottle of wine would be incorporated.
You know what?
And-
Drink, interact, relate.
It's been redefined,
I am a
ladies and gentlemen.
genius. I'm a genius. I'm telling you.
I can't.
Yes, you can. No puedo. Sí puedes. Dale que tú puedes. Dale que tú puedes. Okay, sorry.
I wish I spoke more Spanish.
No, you don't. Say to be one of us.
Okay, so where do we leave on? Oh my gosh, we
So
totally
the sample
interrupted her.
session.
Yeah, sample session.
Okay, well, no, but that was beautiful. So if we were doing it with a child, for example,
You will not be drinking.
you would not be drinking, not recommended.
Aw.
But you want to see what they're doing. So I usually start by looking at where's their attention and what is their intention. So if they are lining up trains, for example, their attention is on the trains and their intention is to line them up. So right there, we know so much about that child, right? That they enjoy order. They're not the kids who love the chaos. And we know that they like trains. So right there, we can think, how can we go to interact with them and to make it from them being in their own world to being in a fun shared world together. So, maybe I might give them a train and then they would put it in. I wouldn't go straight to putting it on because a lot of kids, that's mine. That's my masterpiece. Don't interrupt it. So how can we unobtrusively and in a way that's very friendly and inviting, how can we join them? And then we sort of take it from there and just interact and play and see what they do is based on whatever they do, we do something else. So it's all based on them. It's very child-led. And I think that's when the magic happens because we find out what they like. Otherwise, if it's all teacher or adult-led, we're imposing all of these things on the kids, all
So you
these
don't
ideas.
do goals at all. So you don't show up to a child's house and say, today we're going to, or at least to have a guideline, A, B,
We
and
do
C.
do goals.
Oh, okay.
We do
You
goals.
have-
But it's more developmentally based. So when we think about the developmental levels, like level 1 would be the ability to be regulated and to share attention. So it might be a regulation goal or an engagement goal. Can the child actually stay engaged? Or it could be a communication goal.
We would fail that.
Yeah.
Be done
We
for.
cannot be made.
Well, no, but you guys are doing it beautifully. So communication, we're thinking about how many back and forths we can have. And you guys do back and forths all day long. So you've nailed developmental level 3.
Okay, you see what it's doing? Level 3.
Okay, we can do this. Developmental level 4 is problem solving.
Oh,
You say that, but look at all the problem solving you guys have done to get this podcast. This is
intervention.
Yeah.
We actually paying her to say all these great things about us.
No, but
We
it's
really
all
are.
true. It's so true, and it can be related to anyone, which I love. But so the goals are more developmentally based. So if it's a communication goal, for example, can we have 5 back and forths? And it wouldn't matter what it's with. It could be with whatever the child wants. Is it with a ball? Is it with marbles? Whatever it is. But that isn't so important as the interaction.
Why does this all seem like it just makes sense?
Right.
Right? Like, duh, that's how it should be done. I guess that's what led you.
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking our experience, or my experience was ABA.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so, and it worked for us, and that's what we did at the time. But I think the only thing I could really relate to in that is that they would say, does he like goldfish or Pringles? Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like for the
reward.
reinforcer.
And I was like, no.
Right. And
My child will not
that's a controversy, like food for reinforcement.
Mhm.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that there was nothing centered around him. It was just all, the cards and the goals and the drill and kill. And as an educator, I do believe in drill and kill. Whether you're studying for your, master's or you're in pre-K. I mean, drill and kill works, but does it work with these kids?
Right.
How does it differ from, say, Montessori approach, or does it?
There are some subtle differences. Montessori is a little bit more, it really requires the child to be completely self-directed. So for them to know the schedule, for them to know all of that.
Yeah, no, that's a big one.
Yeah, that's challenging.
I mean that for me.
It's very challenging. Whereas DIR is more, and as you said earlier, when you visited Casablanca, we were 5 minutes late. So here, we allow the child to see what they want to do, and we base all interactions around that, but there is a structure to it. So when it's done, we would say, okay, now it's time for XYZ. We wouldn't expect the kids to know what that is yet.
We should have done it. I don't know.
I know.
Looking back, but I was so dumb.
I'm not.
Well, it was so new.
It was new. I
thought
I wanted the structure, and I wanted, he has to do this, and he has to do English and math, and
But see, I read it as DIR/Floortime. I saw the word time in there. I saw the word floor in there. And usually if it was a floor, I was asleep on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally interpret it as I have to sit there with my
Me
kid.
too, right, for 2 hours.
Wow. And, looking back, I would have done anything to get that time back, for many reasons.
That is very true.
Many reasons.
Lesson learned for the parents of newly
The new
diagnosed.
moms?
The young moms. We could say the new moms. We're like the young moms. What are we saying? The moms of the newly diagnosed kids that are little.
Yes. No matter what the diagnosis is, no matter who your child is, time
anyway,
flies by.
Yes.
Look at me, I'm 25, okay? And I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, 12-year-old, and...
You were very promiscuous 10 years ago. Still are.
Delete.
On that note. What is... Oh, yeah, that's one more thing.
Okay, that's okay, I'm just saving.
Save it.
But like that, I'm such a nostalgic person. I think about how, you cannot get that time back. Autism, no autism, and...
Actually, it was little. That's why Oliver's like, we squeeze him.
Yeah.
Because my little one he's 10, but he has hypotonia, so he's very low. Like, he's tiny, so he looks like he's 5, and we're still like squeezing him, like, whatever. Like, he gets so much more, and I'm also more relaxed as a mom than when Dylan was at that age, because I was like, he didn't do this.
Yes.
And I was just focusing on all the stuff he didn't do. And with Oliver, I'd still freak out, but not at that level. It's more like I'm able to enjoy him more than I was with Dylan, because I was just seeing like what he couldn't do, and all the negative stuff. I'm still like that, but I'm much better now.
Even when Jackson was
aware.
born, JR was 3 and barely just kind of getting a diagnosis, and that wasn't important because it was more about, he was a difficult child. I had a hard time with him. Not that I knew any different, but I was like, God, this parenting, I'm really bad at it. But then when I had Jackson, I was like, I have got to take a minute. I have to take a minute and I have to really enjoy him.
That's the benefit of the second child.
Yeah,
They win.
Yeah, they do. And now
I have one question. Just one unwritten question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a difference between, is it related, is the better way to phrase it, RDI? Do you know what that?
Yes.
Because I remember Dylan used to do that at a school that he was at, and that approach worked with him very nicely. And do you know what that is? You want to define it for?
Yes. So RDI, it's very similar because it's relationship based and it's developmentally based. So the overlap is huge. There's also a big emphasis there on the nonverbal cues.
Right.
And
which I thought was fascinating when the teacher, the director explained it to me. She said, he did so great today. And I'll tell you what it was he was doing, and I was like, you did what with my kid? But it made a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And so DIR is very similar in that it doesn't have to be verbal all the time. And I actually think that some of the greatest things happen with our kids are when we, the adults, shut up, excuse my language, but when we stop talking, we give them the opportunity to do so much more. And sometimes I think, especially in adult-led approaches where, we feel the need to talk and tell them what to do all the time, and that's helpful for some, and there's a time and place for that. But I think the magic happens is when we don't talk and see what happens next.
And that's developmental as well, because even my son's 15 and his favorite game or app or school activity is I forget the name of it, but it's all emojis. Oh well, this guy is angry and this guy is so just
defining what
learning
that is. Dylan did that, but it was with cards when he was little. But the exercise that she had him do, it was Dory. She had him. He was like 3. She put him on a table, climbed on a table, and she said, "Okay." She basically made the sign, and listeners can't see me, but she made the sign for him to walk, and then she was like to tell him to stop, but just with her face, and he got it. He at the time he was 3, but that sounded like he could have because a lot of the kids don't have good eye contact. They could have just kept going and followed. I'm like, you put my kid where? But she said I did, and then she goes, it's RDI. She said that's what she said. She said it's nonverbal, and he needs to pick up the cues from my face when if she did an expression like no, that's dangerous, that he without saying stop. Yeah. Oh, without hand motions either. I'm sorry, I'm just keeping it talking with my hands.
No, I'm Italian. I do too.
But that mastery comes at a price, because JR, he's always been pretty good at eye contact and that kind of stuff. And now, but they're focusing on it in school. So he'll say to me, "Mom, you're not listening to me." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I'm playing with my phone, and multitask. I'm multitasking. He's like, "You are not multitasking. You are not making eye contact. Your eyebrows aren't going up and down." Like, he's very literal about it. It's cute, but it's nice that awareness is there.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that so much magic happens in the facial expressions, and that's what makes communication and social relationships so confusing for so many kids.
Yes.
Sarcasm. You're saying one thing with a straight face, but you don't mean the words that you're saying, and how confusing that is.
Yes.
So I really like pairing any sort of facial expressions and hand motions with the feeling and with whatever it is you're trying to convey.
That's interesting, because we're an extremely sarcastic family, beyond sarcastic, and we've always been that way. And my husband and I kind of had the approach when Jared was little. We're not going to talk to him like he doesn't understand us. We're not going to speak in short sentences. We're just going to go for it. And I think he really picked up, thank God, or he wouldn't survive in our house, picked up on that sarcasm and, saying one thing and meaning another.
Because you paired your face with it.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
You look great today, JR.
You're like,
nice hair.
She's making facial.
Sorry. Okay.
All right. Okay. Safe. Don't close. I'm like, don't close.
Don't close. Okay, where are we? Where it says B? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is everyone good? Anyone have to pee?
All good.
I didn't really say that on YouTube. None of us have to pee, YouTube. We're all good.
No one pees.
No one pees. All right.
Tell us about your new initiative, Autism Family Field Trips.
So those are fun. So one thing I realized when I went from a school to more of a therapist, going in and out of families' homes, is I realized that it's really hard for families to come together and to do activities outside in the environment. And those things are really so important for all of us. I mean, you guys know better than anyone. You need that support network. You need friends and people to talk to and complain with and joke around with. Both the adults do and the kids do. And we all need to get out there in our awesome community and do fun things. And I realized that really wasn't happening at all, because it's difficult, because it's hard, because it's out of our comfort zone. So I started Autism Family Field Trips really with the thought of, you know what, let's do something all together. And anyone can come, anyone's invited, and it'll be something fun, it'll be something safe, it'll be something where we can come together and not worry and just enjoy and experience something new, which is really one of the best ways to learn. So we did about 4 of them on the water taxi, which was so cool. I know, right?
I want to do that.
I've never done the water taxi.
I've been saying I've been wanting to do that with Dylan forever, and maybe one of the ones I saw were maybe organized by you, because it had someone singing, I think,
Yes.
a musician.
So on 2 of them, I had a good friend who's also a music therapist join us, and so it was like a sing-along, and it was just so cool.
That's the happiest boat on the river.
Right? Exactly. And it was amazing, and the kids could make requests, and a lot of kids came with their devices, and they were typing in the songs that they wanted. For another one, we sort of gave a preset list of possible songs, and we had printouts for all the kids so they could sing along if they didn't know the words.
Love that.
So yeah, it was
It was
super
Fort
fun.
Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale, yeah.
What is
And
the wait time like on that?
the wait time?
Meaning like when you
The water
leave-
taxi.
No, like when you wait. I mean, when you get there, and from the time you get there to the time you board, because that's where Dylan would lose it.
Which is why we make it very fast. The water taxi actually opened early for us, so usually the first stop's at 10. They opened at 9.
We prefer the VIP treatment, so we're
Exactly.
very glad to hear that.
And let me tell you, this is red carpet all the way. You got a social story in
Oh my
advance.
gosh, I need to do this.
And then-
You're doing that again, right?
We will do it again, especially after this. Heck yeah.
Yes.
So the second the water taxi pulls up, we are able to board right away.
Yeah.
And then it's 1 hour down to Hollywood, to the Hollywood stop, and then it U-turns and comes right back. So at the end of the day, it's 2 hours. It's contained. Everyone's happy. Everyone's informed, and everyone has a really great time. And you get to see like the mangroves. You get to see Port Everglades, and it's like these experiences that are intimidating alone for a lot of families.
Yeah, and a lot of times siblings, I mean that's a whole other topic issue. It's complicated with
Yes.
siblings, and the fact that everyone's included is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So great.
Absolutely.
You also created Connect and Play, an autism acceptance celebration, a festival intended to kick off Autism Awareness Month in April. Dr. Jennie, tell us more.
I would love to. So Connect and Play, it's sort of based on the same concept of the Autism Family Field Trips. And there was one about 3 years ago. I was sitting around, and it was April 2nd, World Autism Awareness Day.
We love that day. So
Right.
fun. The day we met.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
See, magical day. Oh, is
No,
that
we,
not
we,
true?
we actually no, yes. We actually don't like that day for other reasons.
Yeah.
The whole autism. Well,
Well, it's a reminder. It's a reminder.
Right.
It's a complicated day for for mostly just towards the media and the way they handle the awareness part.
The autism speaks sort of thing.
All of
Am I
that,
allowed
like,
to
or
say that?
yeah,
Okay.
or just like the lack of I guess our thing.
The
is
full
like,
picture.
The full picture, right?
Yeah.
It's only talking about the positive. Nobody talks about the hardships enough.
Right.
We think. But yeah, it's the day we met, so it is a happy day as well. So we turned it around.
I love it.
Turning it around.
Yeah, turn the beat around.
Love to hear percussion. Anyway, so we're helping her, and every time she tries to say something, we interrupt her. Sorry.
Well,
Okay.
this is the beauty of a
sorry.
conversation because we all have stuff to add and we're all adding it. I love this
She's
kind
so
of conversation.
Positive.
Okay, continue, please.
Sorry.
We're sorry. We're gonna stop.
Okay,
Well,
so
ask us why. Why?
Okay.
yeah,
It's your
yes, I was
fault.
curious.
It's your fault.
100%. So, I was sitting there and there was nothing happening. And, some people plugged in their little blue light bulbs, but other than that, everyone was just sort of sitting around. And I thought, well, you know what? We need to do something. We need to come together and we need to celebrate in some way, which now I see is sort of the opposite of the way a lot of people feel. But at least it's someplace where we can go and everyone can go and everyone is welcome. And there's a sensory-friendly room to cool down in. There's a huge field so you can run and play and bounce. There was musical entertainment.
But
There's
what is there
different
for the
vendors.
kids? Sorry.
All of that for them too, believe it or not, doubled up. So there's something for everybody. Games, toys, music, dance, bounce, everything. And a place where, again, everyone can just go and you don't have to be scared or worried or ashamed if anything happens. Just everyone there gets it. So that was pretty cool. And we try to have lots of different things there so you can see if your child connects to something new. There was it was a high school band, the Southside Band, and they had like tubas and saxophones, and it's amazing that the second they left the stage, about 10 kids rushed different instrument players. And how often do you see a live tuba?
Right.
For any of us, not that often. Right?
That's what she said.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
No, but it's true. Everything is exposure. Just leaving the house. We, through our Autism Supper Club, we don't even realize until we start talking to families that they don't really get out.
Right.
Very
At
much.
all.
Oh,
Mhm.
at all. And I get it. We sometimes have to, force ourselves too because of that, God forbid something goes wrong? Well, nothing will go wrong if you don't leave your house.
Exactly, but
So-
you also miss out on so many amazing opportunities.
Like, even if you meet one person, your kid connects with one person or one tuba.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Oh, God.
So what is next? Is there anything you'd like to share with us? Any plans? What's going on?
So there is something next. I am in the process of looking for a space, actually, because I keep thinking, you know, all of these great events and things, they're amazing, and I think they're so important. But to find a different place every time and to bring stuff every time, just to have one sort of a social club, a place where everyone can go, where there can be all sorts of fun things.
She just hit me. But I'm excited.
I know.
Something for parents, something for kids of all ages, because I've been looking at a lot of different cool indoor sensory gyms, and they all sort of cap at age like 6. But why?
Right. My kid
You
would
know?
wreck that shit because he's like 6'2", 180 pounds.
Yeah.
But
But
would
he
he love
loves
it?
it. Yes, he would
Exactly.
love it.
So we need
So would
more
Dylan,
things like that. So more
You can do birthday parties.
you could do anything, and it would be a fun space to kind of do everything.
School field trips. That kind of stuff.
Exactly,
Did
under
she
one
mention
roof.
us having like a side office?
Yes,
Okay.
we could have our recording office there.
Thank you.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I think we're onto something. I
Yes.
love this. And you know, if it's in the Fort
I was gonna
Lauderdale-ish
say,
area, it would
It
be
has to be
perfectly middle ground for you guys.
Yeah. Wow.
Just
That's
saying.
amazing. Wow. I did see there was one, but it was a sensory place. I think it's in Aventura that just opened. But I was looking at it and I'm thinking, that's cute. but it's gonna laugh. Well, everything's brand new,
Mm-hmm.
and you could tell it's not really geared towards special needs or anything like that. But I was like, yeah, no, that wouldn't work.
But the concept
The
is
concept
good,
is
right?
amazing.
And she
Yes.
has the foundation.
Yeah, you have a different approach.
Your approach. You're not just like, hey,
Obviously.
it's a gym open for everyone. It's a free for all. Like,
Right,
it's-
that's what I was
there's
because
thought
these
behind
kids in the
it.
pictures at least were all like lined up and they were all doing these sand projects and I'm thinking, yeah.
Needs to be a little more fluid than that.
But it was very organized, and on the painting one, all the paint was very. I'm like, that's old me. New me is like, let them throw some-
Exactly. Get a
Yeah.
smock, get dirty.
or at least have the time for the kids that are the organized, or the ones that But that's
Yes.
something for everyone. So I mean, it's not an easy task. But how exciting!
But see, we're visionary, so we're thinking, okay,
Yeah.
you can employ individuals there,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
You could have an open bar. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Different kind of place. But
So what you're
Maybe
saying
for
is,
after hours.
so what you're saying is there is a future episode we're going to be recording on site of somewhere we're really excited.
I cannot wait.
That would be amazing.
And what is your timeline, like goal, like dream of having this
Within
become
the
our
next
building?
6 months?
What?
Yeah, very
Oh,
soon.
she's not
I'm
playing
on
around.
it.
Is
I'm
this
on it.
exclusive though, by the way, or have you talked
You know
about
what?
this
This
much?
might be an exclusive. This. Ooh.
Hey.
I told you I'd flap it. I get happy.
Well, happy.
I got spirit fingers, so we're good.
It
Jazz
just happens. Exactly. We all have our stims.
That's super.
That's
Super,
very-
Yes.
super
cool.
exciting. Wow.
I can't think of anyone more qualified or more fun.
Yes, you
I
heard
mean,
it here
honestly, you're not
first,
just like a
people.
clinician,
Mhm.
right?
Thank
make all the
you.
faces.
You can make
I
all
make
the faces.
all the faces. You'll never guess what I'm feeling.
Insert sarcasm.
That's right. Dr. Jennie, how can our listeners find you if they want more information on your services?
Thank you for asking that question. So they can find me. I have a website. My company is called Autism Education and Development Solutions, which is very long, but at least it says what we do.
Say it again.
Sorry, Autism Education and Development Solutions. And it's www.drjennietk.com. I'm on Instagram, Dr. Jennie T.
Spell that.
Thank you, yes,
Yes.
DRJENNIET. And I'm also on Facebook. My company page is Autism Education and Development Solutions. So follow me, call me, email me, feel free to reach out.
Oh, be
Do
careful.
any of those without, you're right, maybe not call,
Oh.
text.
Our tribe attacks. When we say go do exceptional fitness, they want to do exceptional fitness. When we say do it, I mean everyone really loves to hear about all the new or just the providers that we bring and we talk to and and they love to get the
to get all the inside info
Awesome.
without having to, go through the process. This is like
Or they
this is
understand
the
it better.
inside. This is the bait.
Well, it also shows that they trust you guys, and I think that's part of the relationship approach is you
Yeah.
trust people who you care about, who you believe
But also,
in.
for example, you are here. You're talking, and then get to know who you are before they even call you.
True,
Sometimes people are just
true.
cold calling places to do therapy, and they don't know the first thing about a place.
Exactly.
So when they call, they've already heard it here. They've already or watched it on YouTube, and gotten a little bit more information and a feeling. Sometimes you have to go with your gut.
Exactly.
I'm thinking this is a positive one.
I'm a big believer of go with your gut. I think parents have the best guts that there is, and you got to follow that.
Yeah, I've got a big one right now because of overeating, but tis the
Because it's
season.
December,
the holidays.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by today to chat with us. My friend Rima from Gatsby's, where we held our Last Supper Club, linked us to you, and I am so grateful for that. Thank you, Rima.
Okay, friends, check back on Monday for our grand season 2 finale. You do not want to miss it. All I can say is grab the tissues because it's going to be an emotional one.
Well, there was crying. The Boppies are back, and they turned the tables by interviewing us. Can you believe it? Why did we let them call the shots?
Did you say shots? Where?
Shot. I just cannot believe we're wrapping up season 2.
And soon we'll be celebrating our 1-year anniversary on January 1. What?
On January 1?
Yeah. 1ST.
First. Yes, the question is, how will we celebrate? I don't know.
Well, that's it for today. As always, thank you for listening, and please visit us on all of our social media platforms and on our website, disorderlyblondes.com. Everyone say bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Yay, we did it.
We did it. Okay. Good
That
job.
was fun.
That was so fun. I love when I sweat because I'm laughing so much.
It's a good kind of sweat.
Love
The
it.
glowing
I'm
kind
so
of
glad I met you.
I can be so
sweat.
happy.
Thank you guys.
Okay, file save, sorry.
File save. We need a picture together.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a
we
whole list of pictures because we
Because
forget.
we keep forgetting, and then we're like, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. Now we have a list.